Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Friday, July 23rd, 2021. I want to talk about something with you. I've covered this before, but yesterday, when I explained to you how at one point this stock market is going to get sucked into a black hole like people have no idea. You do, possibly. But the question was, where's the cash going to go? And I'm going to tell you exactly where it's going to go so you can get yourself in the right spots right here and right now, beginning today. But before we do that, I want to cover the market today. So trading doesn't start for about half of an hour. Stock futures are higher pretty much across the board, meaning what? The market's going to put on gains at the open, at least for now. I mean, futures can change, but that's what it looks like. And no surprise to you. This last dip in the market was bought up savagely. This fear missing out, this fear trade, like I told you, is going on. The fact that crude oil, made an astounding turnaround, now about $72 a barrel. All right, all this plays together. You know that. The 10-year yield is still bouncing around a little bit. It's possibly stabilizing here. You got the dollar flat as again I am doing this video. So the setup for this morning is, okay, stock futures higher. 10-year yield, I'm going to say relatively stable. Crude oil is slightly in the negative right now, but still about $72 a barrel. If they prop that up with a stable 10-year yield and a dollar that is a little weaker, well, it's a nice setup for the market, but we need to see how this is going to play out going into the weekend. Are people going to seek safety? Are people going to pile into the stock market? It depends. It really depends. So we're just going to keep our eyes on that. Anyway, going back to the markets here. So this morning, Bloomberg, Fox Business, CNBC, they're out there again talking about surging inflation. Duh. Like we don't know what's going on here. It's out of control by design. None of this is by accident here. They're talking about how these mega corporations are going to deal with it. Well, we already know. They've already told us what they're going to do. The corporations are not going to absorb the higher cost of materials or whatever it might be. They're passing it on to you and me, of course. Again, they're squeezing whatever's left of the middle class. Look, if you are well off, if you are rich, this isn't really pinching you too much. But if you're someone out here that is, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering, where things are going to go, you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. And that brings me to what I want to talk about here. So again, I've explained for years that cash just moves through the market. It doesn't go to money heaven. You understand? It doesn't just disappear. When the stock market sells off, for example, okay, cash moves into here or there or gets transferred from one person's reality to another person's reality. That's pretty much what I do. I mean, I am a derivatives trader. Generally, I am a net seller of options. You understand? So, there's one guy or girl or many guys or girls on one side of the trade, and I'm on the opposite side of that trade. And that's how I generally generate income every month, okay, by selling options. Do I buy them once in a while? Yes. But let's go back to how cash is moving. So, like I said yesterday, at one particular time in the future, at a time of their choosing, all right, this is not by accident, we're going to get an implosion in the debt market that's going to make people's heads spin around like The Exorcist, like I said. And that is going to put an enormous amount of pressure on the stock market. So what do you got? Let's put this together. Sell off in the debt market, sell off in the stock market. So where's the cash going? Is it going to money heaven? No, because I told you, cash does not go to money heaven. Cash is going to go into commodities, okay, on a massive scale. Why? Because these are real things. And they're more specifically going to go into suppressed assets, physical gold, physical silver. It's going to go to crude oil too, and other commodities. This is part of this thing, how it's going to unfold on people. That's why I've explained to you with regard to inflation, you haven't seen anything yet, anything at all, because this cash is simply going to move from debt instruments, the stock market, into commodities. So you got to stay ahead of that curve. This is why, since time immemorial, I've been explaining people, you got to get yourself into hard assets, physical gold, silver more specifically. And I'm going to say it again for the gazillion time. In my opinion, do your own research here. Physical silver, the most undervalued asset in the history of the world. Period. The end. And yes, it is rigged to the highest order. We know that. We know who's doing it. We know why they're doing it. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing in my view. When you have banks, none more so than JP Morgan, who is rigging the price of metals via the derivative. I mean, I want you to think about it again for the millionth time. How is it that a hard asset, a real thing, can derive value from a derivative? Generally, you have an asset, like a particular company, a stock, or even, let's say, a hard asset. And it itself is where the value lies, not from the derivative. It's insane. It's a sick, twisted mechanism, but that's how they rig the market. You won't know that. And what have I said to you since forever? Let them play their game. We will play our game, and we can play it better because we know what they're going to do before they're going to do it. Period. The end. How many times have I told you things and they happen? After I say it, say, look, people, okay, this is going to happen. Boom. Here we go. It's so simple. It really is. Look, I am no smarter than anybody else out here. Believe me. Believe me. I just know where to look. I understand the flow of money. I understand the grand plan of central banks, which I have outlined to you for years. They're going to inflate, and then inflate some more. Now, this morning, talking about that, I'm sure some of you are watching Bloomberg and CNBC and Fox Business. They're talking about tapering again. Oh, the Fed's going to taper next year. They're going to start shrinking their balance sheet. No, they are not going to do it. They're not going to. They're going to inflate and then inflate more. That's what they're going to do, period. It's not going to stop. They have already set the wheels in motion here, okay, to be the lenders and buyers of last resort, which means they own it all. They own it all, and they're going to continue to buy people, period, in the end. The distortions that exist across the spectrum of asset classes is insane at this particular time. A hyper bubble in debt, a hyper bubble in the stock market, suppressed assets like we've never seen, inverse bubbles, for example, gold and silver. They're in inverse bubbles to me. And going back to what I was saying, yes, we are going to see, it's going to be beyond a meltdown in the debt market at one time, which is going to open up a black hole under the stock market. And that all that cash is going to leave those arenas and go into another one, and that is commodities. So just remember I'm telling you this because this is how it's going to play out moving forward. And also remember, cash doesn't go to money heaven, people. Doesn't go to money heaven. It goes from one reality into another reality. You understand? I think you do. All right, people. So that's it. Right now, in summary, real quick, looks like we have a market slated to open higher. Imagine my surprise. Crude oil, massive rebound. Unbelievable. Going higher. Could we get a pullback in crude? Sure. But these pullbacks in anything are going to be bought up when you have a central bank that's going to continue to inflate. And I told you, go to the Federal Reserve's own freak show website and look at their balance sheet. The higher the balance sheet goes, the more distorted everything is going to become. You understand? And the higher the stock market's going to go. So stop looking at the stock market for the implosion. Okay? It's going to be in the debt market first. Okay, so when you hear someone talking about a market crash on a show, or some, a commentator brings out a guest and they're talking about a market crash, write to them and say, what do you think about the debt market? See, because these people are grossly misinformed. They have no idea that the real hyper bubble, what the backbone of this entire thing is the debt market. And the debt market is going to implode at one time, causing a black hole under the stock market, and cash is going to just move into commodities when there's a total meltdown. All right, I'm out of here. Love you a lot. I'll see all of you at the end of the day. Please share the video.